Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Cai Ling. This is Ma Jun and Yu Song, and we are HiCura. We aim to assist medical professionals in making better decisions by integrating AI into image-guided procedures. We are excited to be here today to introduce our product called USign, which aims to improve epidural procedure in gynecology. Every year, 7 million epidural procedures are performed in regions around the world. However, you will be surprised to know that the first puncture attempt success rate is at an appalling 40%. Now, this means that more than half of the epidural administration requires multiple injections. Personally, I have been through 2 epidural procedures, one of which left me in pain and tears throughout the operation because of multiple puncture attempts. I felt fear, anxiety, and distress in knowing that I was not in good hands. Epidural has been around for almost a century, so why is this happening? Let's look at how an epidural procedure is performed. The anesthetist would inject a needle into the epidural space. 2 things are important here: the position. If the needle is positioned too high, it might hit the spinal cord, and this is what we absolutely want to avoid. If it is too low, it might not block the nerve at the intended area. The second important thing, angle. There is just a narrow passageway between the bones for the needle to go through. If the angle is wrong, the needle will hit the bone. There are 2 current approaches the anesthetist can take to perform the epidural procedure. The first, palpation-based, is where the anesthetist use their finger to feel the bones to get to the correct position. Then, the needle goes in blindly. The next method is the ultrasound. This is where the ultrasound would help to visualize the landmark, so the success rate is higher, but now the anesthetist has to play the role of a sonographer. Both techniques rely heavily on the interpretation by the doctors, and both are not catered to obese patients. We have a better solution, and I'll let Ma Jun tell you more about it.
Thanks, Helen. To provide a better solution for epidural administration, we launched our first product, as it's called USign. USign consists of a software to determine the optimal insertion site and the hardware to integrate the needle with the probe. Based on AI technology, our product provides a real-time solution, and it is compatible with all existing ultrasound machines in the OT. Now, Yu Song will do a demonstration, and here you are going to see what happens on our software. First, the probe is located vertically to have the pyramidal view, scanning from the sacrum and then going up until the L3 to L4 level is found. Then we switch the type in the user interface, rotate the probe for 90 degrees to have the transverse view. By adjusting the horizontal position and orientation of the probe, the epidural space is considered found once a green circle is indicated. The following procedures are quite simple. The clinician can easily conduct the epidural administration using our clamping system. Here is the prototype of our clamping system. The clamping system can be attached onto the probe. The needle can be clipped onto it, rotate freely, and locked once the position and the angle are fixed. In this way, the clinician is able to do the scanning and injection simultaneously, and the needle can be tracked from the ultrasound image. Moreover, the whole procedure requires only 1 operator, so we call it a two-handed operation. On the contrary, the traditional way to use ultrasound machine for epidural administration will require 3 hands from 2 different operators. In view of first attempt success rate, USign achieved 92% according to our first clinical validation on 100 patients, which is a significant improvement. Compared with palpation-based and ultrasound-based techniques, USign is able to identify the position and the angle intelligently, and it is a two-handed operation with real-time needle tracking and guidance. Moreover, it is catered to obese patients according to our second clinical validation on 50 patients. We have identified 3 different stakeholders for value proposition. For the hospital, shorter OT checkout time can be achieved, and from the patient point of view, higher first attempt success rates results in less complications. And for the clinicians, the efficiency of the whole procedures can be increased. Now, Cailing will tell you about our market strategy.
Thank you, Martin. Now, with so many advantages, I'm sure everybody will find USign very useful. But where is our money going to come from? We are targeting the ONG maternity hospitals and birth centers, and in Singapore, I'm proud to say that KKH is on board. Through interviews with medical professionals, including anesthetists, they value our product at 10% of the epidural charges. In Singapore, that's around $500. So our revenue model is based on a pay-per-use basis. Each consumable pack will include one hardware and a one-time use software token. This will be priced at $50. This is our milestone, and on the IP side, we have our copyright for the software in 2016, and we have just filed a provisional patent for USign. Our first customer will be on board 2021, and then after that, we will expand regionally. From Singapore, we will go to Australia next, and then UK, EU, USA, and possibly China. A conservative estimate for our annual revenue is 160 million, assuming 10% market penetration in 8 to 10 years. Our regulatory strategy follows very closely to our market strategy. Our first customer is in Singapore, so we will go with HSA and then the rest. We are a Class B medical device. We are halfway into this journey. Next up, we have the QMS system, and then the software hardware development for manufacturing, more clinical validation, and then regulatory. From now until our first buck comes in 2021, we would require $1.4 million in capital investment. If you believe in our cause, invest in us. Team HiCura. On our advisory board, we have Prof. Alex Xia, the current CEO of KKH, together with Prof. Seng and Prof. Tan. Now, before I end, I would just like to say that childbirth is a beautiful moment. Women all over the world choose epidural to relieve their pain during labor. I did, but it was a distressing experience. So I hope you can join us in our journey to make epidural the way it should be. Come to our booth, meet us in person, and we can tell you more. Thank you.
Thank you, Team HiCura. Any questions from the floor? Okay, I'll start with one. You mentioned that the traditional way of doing ultrasound is not catered for obese patients, and you're also based on ultrasound. So could you explain that a bit more?
Okay, it's a good question, thank you. You know, for the obese patients, they have thicker fat under the skin. So with such thick fat, it requires larger scan depth for the ultrasound to reach the bone, which reduces the quality of the ultrasound image dramatically, and making it even more hard to identify the anatomical landmarks by human eyes. That's why the conventional ultrasound is now catered to obese patients. But our product, USign, has built-in image processing algorithms to compensate such quality loss. And this makes the identification process independent of the scan depth, and hence more catered to obese patients. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Pankaj, it's
coming. You mentioned that the success story was, the success rate is 92%. What could be the reason for the 8% failure?
This is a good question. Actually, during the clinical validation, we are continuing refine our algorithm because we can always collecting more data based on the patient. So at first, there may be some errors of our algorithm, but through the clinical trial, our program become better and better.
Okay, my question is more related to the way you have chosen the markets for expansion. So based on the demographic profile of the various countries, if you see around the globe and the target segment that you're aiming for, shouldn't you be including countries which have more demographic dividend for the target segment that you're aiming for, rather than maybe countries like Australia and all in your roadmap? I'm sure you have done some analysis and some logic, but my question is whether you have taken into account the demographic profile for the target segment that you're aiming for.
Thank you for the question. So from Singapore, Singapore is our first target because we are based here and we have a close collaborator, KKH. Next, we are going to Australia, and the reason why we choose Australia is because KKH has close links with two of the biggest hospitals, maternity hospitals in Australia. Now, our eventual market strategy is to go global. And you know our algorithm is based on AI, which means that we need a lot of data. And we don't really just need the Singaporeans, but we also need people from other countries. So we're going to Australia, and since KKH has close links with them, we'll be able to get different data, training data from different nationalities. And of course, we are slowly building up the market. So from Australia, UK, EU, US, so we are slowly building up our market to ensure our success. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So please visit their booth. It's just
Yes.
outside. Okay. I think that's all the time that we have for this team. So let's thank this team. Oh, sorry. So sorry. Big mistake.
Big one. Other than this childbirth market, wouldn't there be other high precision injection market within the body? I mean, neurosurgery comes to mind, knee, hand surgery.
Thanks for your question. Actually, our technology can be applied in many image-based medical procedures. Our next product will be targeting on the spinal anesthesia, which has a larger market than the epidural anesthesia. Because spinal anesthesia is very useful in many applications, such as the knee placement and hip replacement and so on.
Now we thank the team.